We're going to start this evening's meeting with signs and first application, please.
Chairman Hal Goldberg for architect sign,
Is the applicant present?
gardens and landscaping.
Is the applicant present?
I don't have any issue with that.
No problem with that.
All right. Esther?
I have no problem.
I'm fine with
Any public comment on the application? Motion to approve.
I make a motion that we approve the architect design sign for Hal Goldberg Garden and Landscape.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next application, please.
Gulf Gas Station, 14 City Road, or County Road, sorry.
Is the applicant present? Your name for the record?
Jessica Zeeby.
Does this say backlit sign?
It's internally lit, so yes, we backlit.
So illuminates. Current sign, does it illuminate?
No, the current
So
sign is
you're
not.
introducing something that's foreign, new?
Yes.
All right.
County
Board usually doesn't like backlit or illuminated signs here in the village of Southampton. We'll ask the board and see how they currently feel, but that has been pretty much the recommendation of this board throughout the entire village of Southampton.
Okay.
Pam?
No, surface lit only. Backlit.
Esther?
I agree.
Okay.
So it's always been it's been traditional, and it's always been our ruling that surface lit, not
Okay.
backlit, not illuminating, signs within the village, especially at a corridor just as the intersection there, primarily because it makes it look more Las Vegas. You know, so we're trying to deter that as much as possible and keep the integrity of the village of Southampton
Okay.
as much as possible. So I'm sure you have to go back to the applicant to see if there's any alternatives.
Yeah, their biggest thing was the Pricer sign with the LEDs, the Pricer sign.
Okay.
So I guess I'm assuming that's illuminated, so we know that's the biggest reason we're here. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So
No
are you
problem.
are you asking to withdraw the application, or you want to adjourn to speak with your applicant?
Oh, sure.
Okay.
Speak with the
Motion
applicant.
to approve the applicant's request to adjourn.
Make a motion that we approve the applicant Gulf Gas Station's request to adjourn for their 3 storefront signs to our next
Second.
meeting.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Ettinger
Thank
Law
you.
Firm, 200 North Sea Road.
I'm here on behalf of the applicant. My name is Theodore Dratch from Hampton Signs.
I don't have any issues with
There be any lanterns, or you just
No, this is for new signage on 2 sides of the building.
Okay. Blue lettering. Is that
Blue
a-
lettering, very small metallic gold strip there. That's
Christine,
it.
any comments?
No, fine with it.
Brian?
Fine.
Esther, any issues?
Nice looking. Thank you.
Any public comment on the application? Motion to approve?
I make a motion that we approve the sign for the Ettinger Law Firm at 200 North Sea Road.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
it. Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. That concludes our sign permits for this evening.
Mr. Chair, on the first call, 436 Gin Lane, there's a written decision in your file, the original instrument.
File is a decision denying the application for the certificate pursuant to the consensus of the board based upon the architectural issues of the application.
Okay. Motion to approve council's written decision in denial of the application for 436 Gin Lane LLC.
I make a motion that we approve the written decision by council for 436 Gin Lane.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
For denial.
Next application, please.
EAM 40 Meadow Lane, construction of new 2-story single-family dwelling, closed for a written decision.
This application is held open for recommendation to reopen, correct? Council?
Correct.
The board members had the opportunity to hear testimony from the community and had some time to deliberate individually, and I believe there's a decision, a motion to reopen. So is there a motion on the table to reopen?
Yes, I move to reopen the application of 40 Meadow Lane LLC for the limited purpose of receiving at the next public hearing of the board on August 11, 2014, testimony or evidence from those neighbors who attended the meeting on July 14th and requested the hearing on the application be reopened.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nay.
Over our objection, obviously. Thank you.
Next application, please.
Application is Caliste Enterprises, 36 Main Street for exterior alterations. There's a written decision on your desk.
Counsel?
Decision's been drafted approving the application as submitted, and affirmative vote on the motion will be to approve the applicant's request.
Motion to approve written decision by counsel?
I make a motion that we approve the written decision by council for Calista Enterprises on Main Street.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Take a moment, Curtis.
On the application of Alejandro
Give it a second.
Camacho.
Just give it a second, please. And if we can get the doors closed once everyone puts out, please. Yes, please.
On the application of Camacho, 42 Foster Crossings, written decision. Mr. Chair, on your
Counsel?
desk.
Decision is in the file approving the application or the amended application as submitted, and affirmative vote on the motion will be to approve the application.
Motion to approve written decision by counsel.
I make a motion that we approve the written decision by council for Alejandro Camacho and Costa Crossing.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Next application is Shabbat, 214 Hill Street, for driveway gates and fence.
I resubmitted a lot of the things that you would ask for.
Get the file, please.
Camacho, oh, I'm sorry. I should know.
It's right there in front.
I also took some photos, and I put the gates, the proposals up against the photos that you had asked me to take around the neighborhoods. And I changed it to, I had 4 proposals. I changed the columns to brick. I just put this up so I can,
Could I get your name, please, Margaret?
my name is Fran Taubman. I also, you had asked me to set it back 10 feet, and I did that. I set it back to the, there's a pathway, and then I returned the privet and stockade to the column.
How far back?
I set it back as far, it's over 10 feet, but it goes to the, you know, to the pathway.
But how far back from the columns?
No, I moved the column back. It's
So the
33
columns and the gates are set back from the?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
how far?
It's 33 feet from the road.
Okay, but how far from the hedge, if you will? Yeah,
I think it's about 10 feet,
about 10 feet,
you know, plus or minus.
okay.
Christine, comments?
I saw a couple of pictures when we were in the building department and stuff that were different to this.
Can I, is there some place I can put this up? I mean, do
You can
have
leave it right there.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
I liked the one that was.
these are the gates around Gin Lane or First Neck Lane. Was the suggestion of the board that there be brick columns and that you wanted wrought iron and very thin, beyond being it set back. So this is my first proposal, which I changed to the brick columns. This is my second one. This is my third one, and this is my fourth one, which I've actually done gates like this before. They practically disappear.
Which gates are you proposing?
Either one of these two.
Are you asking the board to give a preference?
Well, my preference is 4
That would be my preference.
because it's
That's one for Scoot.
yeah. Because I've done gates like this before, and if you look at them, they just disappear.
Very
So
nice.
you're saying the
This
deck?
one.
That doesn't look like that, what we're
Yeah,
seeing.
we're looking at two different, I'm
What?
sorry. The one you're showing, you're pointing to is more decorative.
Not that
This is
one.
option 3.
This is option 4.
What option is that, Curtis?
This is one similar to one that
Which option are you proposing?
I like 4.
Where's 4?
Point
You're
to 4,
holding
please.
It's the one with the,
The decorative one.
yeah, I don't know
Okay,
if
that's
it's,
different than what's
it.
being,
Where is 4?
4 is right here.
that's
I'm
different.
sorry, I like 3.
Oh, you like 3?
I like 3. If you're asking for opinions.
I like 3.
This is 4.
I just think it'd be great if it could disappear.
Can I
So,
see-
we would too.
can I see 4?
So that's the point of the,
This is the only challenge, and I don't want to get into a situation where we're making the choice for you, because it's not really the responsibility of this board. Hear me out. It's not really the responsibility of this board to tell you what to look at, what you're proposing, and then advise whether we feel that it fits in or if it fits into the character of the community. So we're going to step back and ask which one are you proposing, and let you know if we have an issue with the design that you're proposing. But we're not going to sit here and say design
Okay.
door 1, door 2, door
The
3.
reason why I'm in favor of 4 is because the desire of the board to make it very thin, very wrought iron, and have it disappear. I've done gates like that before, and they practically disappear, which is why I'm 4-4, trying to meet what your requirements were. Having had experience.
When you
with
drove
this.
around Southampton Village, did you see anything decorative like 4?
Well, it's natural. It's not supposed to be decorative. It's supposed to kind of blend in with the landscape. It's supposed to mimic the landscape. I wouldn't call it decorative. I would just call it kind of a blend-in gate.
Okay.
And because it's so big, any kind of verticality is just, I mean, it had, if you look at it, hardly any, it was a big mesh behind
If you
it.
look at the overall landscape of Southampton Village, your
Well, I'm willing to,
other
yeah,
scenarios that you're proposing are more traditional.
I understand.
And it's that traditional style that we're
Right.
looking at in terms of trying to make a favorable approval for you. What you're introducing is a little less traditional, especially in the hallmark of Southampton Village, which is Hill Street. With that in mind, which application do you think is, I'm sorry, which proposal do you think is more favorable to this board?
I guess 3.
So that would be something
Yeah.
you think would be more
I
favorable?
have no, problem with 3. I
Okay.
just thought 4 was
Brian?
prettier.
I appreciate all that you've done with the brick columns and pushing it back. I personally think any one of these is going to disappear, and the more decorative or the more artistic gate, I think it's becoming a piece of art instead of a gate. So I would prefer to see number 3 as well, and think it would be
And
fine.
here, you also asked for repurposing. I also, I didn't put this in the file, but this is the existing lantern that I took, that we're gonna put on there.
Okay, so it's existing
It's
currently.
existing now.
Right. Not frosted. What is the wattage of bulbs that you're using?
But wherever we used before, I think they were like 440 watts or something.
Christine, any comments?
No, I prefer 3.
Esther?
I prefer 3, but I'd be happy with 3 or 4. Pam?
3, but what is the brick? What's the material?
I was gonna use antique brick. The
Okay.
pathways are new brick now that
Okay.
we put down, so I was.
Okay, so Virginia
and a
brick,
bluestone top,
like a old Virginia brick or something along those lines?
yeah.
Okay. Good.
Okay, so that I understand and I'm able to put in file which version you're looking at.
Yes,
You're looking at option 3 that's a little more concave.
yes,
Spacing is approximately
6 inches.
6 inches.
I showed a very thin bar in the detail drawing,
Okay,
and I was going over that in the shop today, and that might, because it's so big, have to be tubing, like a 1.5 inch tubing. I don't think it can be as thin as.
Square though, right?
Square, yeah, and then the rods go through it.
Got it.
I thought I could do like a ribbon so you wouldn't see, the thin line, but
Okay.
I think it has to be a tubing structurally.
okay. Any comments on the application?
Can we see it?
If you can you turn it around and point to your option 3?
That's option 3, so you can barely see it. Okay, go.
Thank you.
Thank you. No comments? The property is located in the historic district and is customary for this board, it's part of our process and part of our procedure that all applications are put in writing. So at our next meeting, we'll have our council put in writing the approval, get a consensus of the board that there is an approval, and at that time, we will receive your approval.
Okay, thank you.
So we'll be adjourning today for a written decision. Closing for today for a written decision, and we'll have it at our next meeting, yes, sir.
What does the board have in its file about the dimensions of this gate, the height, the distances between the
It's all
columns?
there.
Is that
I
all
have
in
an
there?
elevation.
On
and
number
I-
3?
I used the site plan that was, yeah, I
It's
have.
all written,
Yep.
the dimensions are all written in there?
They're all in here, sir.
Okay.
Okay? Any comments, any questions?
No, thank you.
Question.
Please.
Richard S. Fernan, 320 Hampton Road. I represent Christine Triant, who lives on Terry Court behind it. There's no objection, but I don't have the information you do. Can you tell me the size of the gates?
Yeah. They're 7'3", I believe option 3 was, well, the width is 24 feet, and option 3, yeah, at its tallest point, at the end of it, it's 7'8", and I think it goes down, no, that's the column 7'8". It's 7'3", and then it dips down in the center. I don't know what it dips down to, and
Okay.
each leaf is 12 feet.
So it's 24 feet wide, 7 feet 8 inches high, the columns.
Yeah,
And then the gate at its highest point is 7'3", and then it's lower in the center. Is that correct?
right.
Okay. Thank you.
No other comments? Any other questions, any other comments? All right. Motion to close the application for written decision.
I make a motion that we close the application for the Chabad at 214 Hill Street for a written decision by our council.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Next application, 450 Gin Lane, for construction of two-story house.
There's a letter in the, I'm sorry, this is Jen Lane? Letter in the file for requesting an adjournment. Did they actually post on there a time or a date to the next?
No, they requested a general
It's a general?
adjournment, not to a specific date.
Okay. Motion to approve applicant's request to adjourn
To
for the next meeting.
11.
I make a motion that we approve the applicant at 450 Gin Lane.
Question, when you adjourn like that, does it automatically adjourn to the next meeting, or?
No, we just mentioned that we will do it until our next meeting. And if we hear something or we receive any other, either a written request or a fax request or any type of correspondence from the applicant, then at our next meeting, we will basically advise the public that either they wish to request another adjournment. We will also notify the building department at this time if they receive any other correspondence, just be specific as to how long they want the adjournment.
I apologize, they did request until the 11th, which is our next weekend.
So
Our
that
next
is the meeting.
Thank you.
When is it adjourned?
To the 11th, August 11th.
You want a motion?
Yes.
Make a motion that we adjourn 450
No,
Gin
that you
Lane.
approve the request for the
Approve
adjournment.
the applicant's request to adjourn.
Applicant's request to adjourn to the next meeting on August 11th.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next application, please.
Next application is David and Sylvia Hermer for 51 Pond Lane for construction of a two-story single-family dwelling. Do you want to hand me Carmaccio back?
No, I'm just working on it.
For the applicant, Stephen D. Lemansky, Southampton Engineering. I think we've submitted a preliminary design, and I have a little bit of an updated design.
So is this in the file or not in the file?
Those aren't in the file.
Okay.
I think everybody had a chance to look at the original submission.
Yes.
It's pretty much the same. We've done some renderings for some different views from this. This would be the house from Agawam. I can pass these. Yeah, through.
No, you can keep it there. It's
Take that, Brian. Take a little bit of a closer look.
I'm sorry.
From directly in the street, this gives you a better idea of what the parking is kind of rough Again, from down by,
Excuse me.
Christina.
Christine, you're in the mic.
I'm sorry. It wasn't my fault.
that was mine. And another one from further up, up the park.
From where?
This is from further up the park, looking more southwest. We did a composite for,
Is that the scale?
yeah,
Height, width?
yeah, and it is a little taller than the house next door. Down this way there is, just, right now there's woods.
Just one.
There's woods, there's trees. There's no buildings for a couple of lots, I think. So at this point, just wanted to have you take a look at these, absorb these, and try to get some comments from you on the architecture, on the layout. We have a preliminary landscape plan that you can also take a look at, and we will develop this as we go along. We'll submit color and a little more identification, and we're working on a topo so we can get it, because as you know, the site raises up pretty dramatically off the street. So don't know if anybody has any comments at this point. I know you really didn't get a chance to absorb the new.
Do you have a scheduled time for the actual demo?
We're working with the mayor's office and the historic board to try to remove as much of the tagged timber that the village historian's office has marked in the field. So we're holding off on all demolition until we can identify everything. I think he told me he'd be done Wednesday. We were going to start the demo of the pool and the garage, but I think we may hold off entirely until we get, try to safely remove all of the historic timbers that he's marked, and then we'll begin demo. So
Okay.
we're going to try to save everything that we possibly can.
Okay, so you are working with the mayor's office with regards to that and all accessory structures on the property as well?
Well, in the original plan, we have, I don't think there's anything historic about the barn or the pool, but the cottage we've gone into a little bit, but only with Zach's office. So we're going to try to get Robert over there as well and take a peek and see what we have. And you know, we're on board with trying to preserve everything that we can.
Okay. As you stated, we did just actually receiving this information in today. We'll absorb what we can. We'll look into it. Well, taking perspective, obviously, your height. It would be helpful to bring to, I don't know, we don't have the color renderings that you have, so we can have a smaller set for the file.
Sure.
Just to give us a nice observation of depth, height,
Sure.
streetscape.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to pass those down?
I didn't know you had this. Are you hiding?
Yeah, I have, I had some, ordered some 11 by 17s to give to the board, so I'll drop them off tomorrow at the building department.
What's there?
And you can take a look at it there.
They're supposed to be. Yeah.
Brian, any comments?
I have two comments with it. What I'm not picking up from the renderings and what I'm seeing on the site plan is that the house is not in line with the street any longer. It's sort of just centered on the lot between the two side yard setbacks. And I think that that's a real mistake, because that is a row of, there are two houses and then this house that line up, and it's what's been there forever, and I'm having a hard time with that. And also, I'm thinking that the mass on the street is way too much. There's just a big mass there, where the other houses are more farmhouse style, single gables, and this is a big mass on the front. You know, that's my initial reaction to it.
Thanks.
Yes, I have the same reaction. I noticed in the building department today when we were looking, the changing angle of the setting of the house, and this deck on the front, is that an accessible deck, or is it decorative? Is it are they doors?
The covered porch?
Covered
It's
porch.
covered porch.
Okay.
Esther?
I would agree with Brian's comments, and I would like to see the height in relation to the house, to the
North.
north. Yeah.
Mm-hmm, okay. Well, like I said, we're working on a topo, so once we get the topo, we can establish the exact heights. We can give you this house relative to the house next door. Like I said, going to the south, there's just trees and an empty lot, so.
Thank you, Steve.
Ham?
Steve, a couple of things. This house has been the location has been high profile, as everyone knows. And it's also high profile because it sits on top of our park, which you enjoy, all of our kids have. And I think, I'm going to ask you some basic questions. Can I see a detail? I'm going to start from the top. Can I get a detail on the brick, on the chimneys, corbelling, so forth, materials? But why are you proposing hip roofs on here rather than
We were working with the owners and the owner's basic vision for their home. So,
would you be willing to be flexible in that? I'm just going to ask that as far as, are you?
Well, I'm always flexible.
Okay. And the fenestration that you have here, the triple windows with the single flanking shutters on either side, have you thought about doing 2 pairs of windows, if you will, and having that in a more traditional method where shutters, actually the windows work with the shutters and it brings the volume down a bit?
Yeah, we can
Would
take a
you
look at
consider
that.
that?
Sure.
Okay. The railing, I assume, is just decorative on the front.
Right.
So these windows that are behind it that appear, they're just a little big, like a sliding glass door panel, the
Right.
center. I'm pointing to this
Yes.
center panel, or these. So would you be open to providing a couple of different alternates there? It's the center or focal point of the house.
Sure.
Okay. And then just looking at this elevation as I'm looking toward the south, can we just mark on the plans, just for clarity, instead of left and right up elevation?
want south,
we just
east, west,
put
sure.
north, the compass point, that's all. And then looking from this direction, I see that the railing it looks okay from looking from the east, if you will.
Right.
But then I'm a little confused as to what's going on when I look towards the south.
Okay.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's running sort of along the building and then cutting in.
Yes.
So the things that trouble me essentially is the roof, is how it appears, the size of it and the volume. Have you considered moving this house back, sort of shifting back the facade in any way? Like with using a bit of more of a detail of the fascia, like a Yankee gutter or something to break that roof line up a bit?
We haven't
Creating
at
an
this point, but
eave and creating a softness to it, similar to some of the other houses, maybe that would help.
Okay.
But I think Band-Aiding a Yankee gutter style or a backdrop, the fenestration and the volume are big issues that I have. Other than that, I assume you'll detail a bit more on the materials.
sure.
I would rely more on details on this than I would, because we're very familiar, at least I am, very familiar with the views, having, fished and grown up on Pond Lane since I was a little kid. Right?
Okay.
Ham addressed the gutters, the shutters, which I definitely was. More detail on the pillars. Are they paneled, or are they round, are they square? I didn't see them.
I think at this point they were round, but we're
Round,
still
'cause they have a
developing some
panelization
stuff. And
look
we're,
to it,
we're
so-
waiting to hear from the board. So.
Okay. And I'm following what you're trying to do, and I agree with Ham in that the streetscape is going to look a little grand with the hip rip roof, and also that the shutter. The dormer that's on the now looks to be a 3rd story, which on the property is already elevated.
Dominant.
It's extremely dominant. So if there's a way from dimensions that you can set that back a little bit more, as you see in the adjacent properties, you have 1.5 stories, or you have step back in terms of the actual impact to the street. Just gives it a little bit more dimension, moving it back a little bit further. Other than that, I think your start is house in the right step.
Right.
Highly visual property, so we want to be sensitive to what is going to be on the property, how it's going to lay, how it will be displayed, what the final result will be, because at the end of the day, it's something that probably will be addressed throughout the entire village of Southampton.
Sure, great. All
Another
right.
comment, Mr. Chair, if I may. You know, part of the thing you might want to look at, the quality of this location, the fact that it's next to a park, it's on the water. Christina, you may want to agree with this or not. I'll wait till you guys finish.
Go ahead, make your comment.
No, I'll wait till they finish.
Guys.
Okay. I think on a house that originally we know went back quite a ways, you may want to think about what a person who owned a house that you're taking down would essentially would have built in its place. And there are tons of examples along various streets, South Main and North Main Street and so forth, that could mimic the style of this house. I don't think hip roofs come even close to it, nor the way the fenestration is being applied. But they actually are submissive as they step back from the edge of the property, so as not to show off, so as not to be proud. In fact, they used to paint a lot of the houses, as we know, just on the facade, just on the face, and leave shingled the sides and the rears, just for that. So I think that could carry forward to your architecture, particularly next to Agawam Park, particularly next to the public right-of-way, and knowing how important this village feels about the history of that property. So I think you've got a lot of work to do yet, but I know you'll head in the right direction.
Great, no,
Okay.
thanks.
Any public comment on the application? So there's a few things that you're going to, gather and get back with us
And
at
we'll
the
get
next
back to you
meeting.
next time.
So you're asking this board to adjourn.
Requesting for an adjournment.
Motion to approve the applicant's request to adjourn.
I make a motion that we approve the applicant David and Sylvia Herman at 51 Pond Lane, request to adjourn to our next meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Thank you.
Thanks, Lee.
First application, non-historic.
LMR Associates, 89 Hampton Road, for a two-story commercial building.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, we submitted a revised landscape or planting plan to the building department based on our comments. From our standpoint, I think we're complete.
You think so, huh?
I hope so.
I've seen the landscape plans. It addressed the concerns that the board had. Ham, questions?
I'm fine. I think the applicant has done a good job on taking a building and making it a lot more subtle, paid attention to the community in terms of landscape. I'm glad that no matter how you connected with your landscape architect, what he's done in maximizing the height of the plantings on Elm Street, on having a little byway on the corner of Hampton Road and Elm, the thickness of the caliper of the shrubs and the fencing to the north side of the property are all good improvements that are welcomed. So I think both the architectural team as well as the applicant, despite their winning this decision through an Article 78, has come around to respect the community and be able to be a little bit flexible.
Christine?
Can I just see a copy of the revised landscaping plan? Do I have it?
While we do that, Brian, did you have the opportunity to see the
I
landscape?
did, I think Tim has addressed everything we asked him to do.
Okay. While she's taking a look at that, is there any public comment on the application? Any public comment? Step forward, please.
Maureen Halbert at 18 Elm. And I wanted to still request that the plantings along Elm Street be taller than 4 feet, perhaps 5 feet.
For the record, we did request from the applicant 5 feet. He raised the elevation of the plantings to, I believe, Tim, 4. Is that correct?
Yes.
And at 5 feet, they backed away. If you want us to make a formal request of them again, we can do so, though I think they've had a little bit of flexibility.
The 4 feet were to be planted, correct?
Yes.
that will still grow, still have the opportunity to mature at its max, approximately.
That'd be trimmed at 4 feet.
It's going to remain at 4 feet,
Correct.
all times.
Correct.
Can I request, if you have those, can you raise those up to 5 feet for the record?
No.
Can we raise them up to 4.6 for the record?
For the record, no.
Okay.
Thank you.
We've asked the applicant.
Okay, and that's that.
That's it.
Do you have any other questions regarding the application? Okay. We did address this, as you know, the last meeting.
I know, and we talked about the comparison of the bank at Little Plains as a comparison, and I felt that it's not necessarily a fair comparison, just because across from the bank in this case are homes, not town hall. And I felt it's more of a residential street, and I just wanted that to be considered.
Okay.
Understood.
And we did discuss the caliper and the distance of the plantings and so forth, but actually the landscape architect, who's a local landscape architect, did certify that that would be a little bit
Tighter.
considerably thicker, would grow in because of the planting. And I think we tried to address everything we can, but realize.
So you're not getting
important
height, but
decision.
you're getting more dense.
I understand that, but I'm also hoping to not have to see all the cars in the parking lot,
Me
which
too.
is, that's the edge of the parking lot.
Me
Yeah.
too.
Yeah,
We understand.
okay, thank you.
Any other public comment?
Susan?
Just to follow up, it isn't, it's Susan Hofdisven. I live at 95 Post Crossing. The corner is not the same as the corner of Little Plains and Hampton Road. There are houses across the street. That particular neighbor has spent maybe $700,000 renovating her home to the terms of the criteria that the ARB sets. There are other neighbors that have done the same. So if she's asking for 5 feet because she wants to preserve her home, it should be acknowledged. Also, there's a tree that will have to be taken down, and it's my understanding that in the historic district, trees are protected.
We've gone over a very extensive landscape plan that this board has reviewed on several occasions with now 2 landscape architects. And this board has looked at the information and granted that it may not be exactly what we wish, but it's acceptable to this board. And therefore, we've gone forward further with the application. It looks like it is a recommendation to approve.
Okay, but you've stood there and looked at those homes and what they're going to see as cars are coming in and out. Have you stood there and looked at it?
I'm there every day.
You're there every day?
Every day.
Susan, the
Part of
tree
my
that
job
you're,
to be there every day.
the tree that you're referring to is the tree that the village has, that's on Elm Street, correct?
There's a tree, yeah.
Yes. And I think the last meeting, I'm not sure if you were here or not, we suggested very strongly that you connect with the trustees and speak to them. They take it extremely seriously, and to replant something that's appropriate to that street. When they came in with a landscape plan, we made significant suggestions, which the applicant has paid attention to, including fencing to the property on the north of the lot. It's a commercial building that has rights through a lawsuit. What we did as a board is to look at their screening plan, to look at their architectural details, and suggest and push as much change as we thought was fine. Now, what we're talking about is 4 feet of heavy planting, which we use as an example, and the applicant has said yes to that. We've notified the public that, look, there's a tree that can be replanted by the village with a little lobbying. It could be substantially bigger than something deserved of the entry to a section of our historic area.
Okay.
Okay?
Any other
Thank you.
public comment?
Thank you.
Anything further from the board? Has the board been satisfied with the landscape plan as submitted?
Yes.
Any further of the application? Then is there a motion to close for written decision?
It's not historic.
It's not historic.
Oh, well, then a motion to approve. I counsel, because of the sensitive nature of this application, I suggest that the consensus of the board be part of a written decision, just in
I
case.
wouldn't be drafting a written decision because you've
Yeah,
got
I think we're fine
plans
with a regular
to
vote.
document the approval.
If, okay.
Yeah, I'm okay with it. We have one recusing anyway.
All right, motion to approve.
Okay. I make a motion to approve the application as revised with landscaping plan and details on LMR Associates, 89 Hampton Road, for construction of two-story commercial building with changes as noted on landscape plan and architectural.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Next application is David.
There was one nay.
One nay.
Nay.
And one abstain.
I have that, thank you.
Okay, David Rimlet, 52 Woolley Street, for construction of new two-story single-family dwelling, guest cottage, and exterior alterations to existing garage.
Can I get Esther?
Yeah.
Good evening, Chairman, board members. My name is Charles Kuhn, architect, Northport, New York. With me is Mr. David Rimland, the applicant. He was before the board a couple of weeks ago. The board did ask for some clarity on some of the details and finishes. So we are here to present the rendering. And, got it. Okay.
You guys share?
Right, okay.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, Charles Kuhn, K-U-E-H-S. Okay, as the rendering illustrates, we are going to use a pre-dipped white cedar shingle for the most part of the house, which we have a sample right here. All the trim work will be AZAC. I know there was a question on some of the column detail. The front column on the porch, it's a very flat panel column, very little detail. We used it on a house previous, and we felt it really worked. It does flare out at the top.
Yeah.
So there's no panel detail to it. It's just a very flat-faced finish. All the windows, white 4/4 grill pattern. We have a sample of the roof shingle, which is going to be a yellow cedar shingle.
Red cedar.
I'm sorry, white cedar.
Red.
Red.
That is it.
Red cedar.
You're getting there.
We're running out of colors. Get the M&Ms.
Okay.
Red
And-
cedar, is that correct?
Yes, it's red cedar.
And also a brick sample of the fireplace, which is going to be
A white Lorraine,
sort of a white Lorraine brick.
which I have a picture of from a house that we did. This is like pretty much the chimney on that. Sorry.
Brian, comments?
I think it's a beautiful house. My concern is the streetscape. And I
Okay.
think the streetscape,
Yeah, go
how
ahead.
it's going to fit on the street. And we asked to see sort of that. The concern is this is a double lot. It's a grand house for the street. It's beautifully done, but there's a concern of a larger house in the middle of a streetscape of much smaller homes.
Okay, I understand what you're asking for. We don't have the illustration of the homes with the two homes on either side superimposed. I guess I can certainly provide that for you. We are planning to, on the front, do a privet hedgerow. So this would be a new privet hedge. These trees are existing, they're gonna remain. There's existing privet running down both the north and south properties. And Mr.
I'm
Rimland
sorry,
has...
did you say those two trees are going to remain?
These two trees are remaining.
These two trees
In the middle of
exist.
your
and they will
driveway.
remain.
Yeah.
They're in the middle of your driveway.
No, there's room to drive around.
There's room to drive around. They're very mature trees. It would, I think, be very out of character to get rid of them. It's,
That's odd.
Never seen
To say never seen.
That's great.
Never
you know,
seen.
Show that to the camera, I'd like to show this.
we're doing all we can to preserve the
You have two trees in the
integrity of
middle
the
of your driveway.
the trees are spaced wide enough. You can certainly drive around them, and they are quite mature. They've been there a long time. It'd be a shame to get rid of them if we don't have to.
Are you putting a lantern in the middle and then a
It'll be
circular?
basically curved. There'll be Belgian block surround.
There's plenty of room to
Kidding,
drive
right?
around. No, it's on the
Yeah.
survey.
I thought it was an error in the.
No, we marked it on the
We
survey.
usually have before boards, and they frown upon taking trees down. If you guys insist.
Well, the driveway's a little different.
Well, we certainly have room to drive around.
If you want us to knock them down, we'll knock them down.
Okay.
Also, just as a point of reference, along the rear property line, David has planted a number of very mature trees, and he really screened, he really blocked out the commercial property that is behind.
These are all 30-foot trees I planted.
Okay. Brian, comments about the tree in the driveway, if any?
Oh, I think it's a really cool thing to do. I've seen it done before, you know. But remember, a tree can come down. You know.
The tree could come down.
Like a construction
not likely
vehicle
a
could-
sycamore tree falling down.
The sycamore, it has been pruned back. The canopy is very high. Certainly, the canopy is going to be above the house line.
Christine?
And we feel we do have.
I do need the streetscape, though.
Yeah, I need a street, I need to see how this is gonna fit in on the.
You know, we also took some pictures of another house that's being built right now, actually just finished on Halsey, which they did a very large structure that pretty much takes up the entire lot. It's all hip roofed, and it's pretty much, that's the property line right there. And then it doesn't even look like it applies to, complies with pyramid, but it must. And this house, which we have a one-story on pretty much most of the streetscape, which it could be by
zoning. We
by
could go
zoning, we
two-story.
could have two-story all over there. So we did very much scale down the streetscape.
So on the north side and the south side, we could say as the rendering illustrates, we did tape it down.
Challenges, at the last meeting, a request was made to do a rendering showing the streetscape
This
in relation
in
to
the-
your construction. That's, you've given us pictures, but it's not a streetscape.
Okay.
Esther?
In looking at the survey and the site plan, the previous house in yellow is significantly smaller than the proposed house, which is really wonderful architecturally. The streetscape is the only thing that's going to give us the visual that we need in relationship to the neighbors.
Ham?
I agree.
I think the house steps back in relation to the overall construction. What would have been great is to see it. To show
Okay,
it,
so we'll provide
see
that
how it read
streets-
on
I
the
understand
property
what you're
line.
asking for.
So to see that, and I think it will really, it will add to your presentation and become more favorable to be able to see that. Because it is a double lot and you are allowed the license for a little larger home than most.
A much larger home.
I don't
We
see
understand.
the
3,700 square feet?
The footprint, we have.
The proposed.
Notes here. First floor, the first floor livable area is 2,442. We have a second floor of 1,732, so the overall house is 4,100 square feet.
Proposed is 2,540 and the second is 1,732, right?
Yes. 2,440. And then we have a front covered porch of 270 square feet,
Got it.
a rear porch of 181.
It's pretty much, the streetscape is almost all, that's all porch.
I know.
And then this is a one-story, so.
You know, a lot of the permittable footprint allowance
There's
is
houses
taken
on
up.
the street that are
Well,
wider
they
in
don't-
front.
You know, a lot of the footprint area is taken up by the cottage and the garage.
I understand your aggravation. Excuse me, sir. I understand your aggravation. But we have to have a complete application.
We'll have one.
If something, okay, now you're disrespecting the chair. I'm looking at you and I'm asking for your attention. We asked for a streetscape. And we have been asked in past times, or should say we've been accused in past times of not asking or asking for requesting for information and not be given to this board.
Understood. I don't remember being asked for a streetscape. I remember
You
being
can
asked
heed
for a
the
landscape.
records from the
Yeah,
last
I will.
meeting and
I'll
you'll be able
read
to see
that.
it. But since that's the case, Mr. Kuhn.
I understand what you're asking for, so I'll make sure you
The
have it.
materials are very handsome.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments, anything else further? You have any
I guess
questions of
that
the
would be
board?
it for tonight.
Any questions from the public? Any questions?
Do you have any questions on the application?
No? All right, so you're asking the board to adjourn so that you can prepare.
If we can
I'm sorry?
adjourn, we will be back
Hold
with
on.
a.
You have questions?
Concerns?
Concerns? Please step forward and.
Can you give her a second, guys?
My name is Lucy Howard, and I live next door to the.
You're speaking to the mic.
Oh, I live next door to the house that's being proposed. I am very concerned, and I appreciate your concern for the streetscape. I think the house is much larger, much wider, or broader, whatever you want to call it, than any other house on the street. Never mind around the corner, that's around the corner, Halsey Street's around the corner. So I appreciate your concern, which is my concern, that it is too big, too massive, and I just want to make sure that it is not. And I'm also very concerned about the trees. Mr. Rimland has taken pains to maintain those 2 trees, which are very important to the whole street. I appreciate that concern. He did cut down a lot more trees than he said he was going to at this last meeting, but he has taken care to raise up the canopies and to try to preserve the other ones on the lot.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay. Any other concerns, comments, or questions? Please step forward.
Walter Scratch, 90 Woolley Street. You're tired of seeing me, I'm sure. I just have a general concern that I'd like to iterate. The gentleman said that the house on Halsey Avenue was large, as though it were a valid argument for why this house should be large. And I would hope that you members of the board wouldn't consider that a valid argument, because I think that one of the concerns we hear among our neighbors all the time in the village of Southampton is that people do things because other people have done things, and it doesn't take long for it to become a precedent. The houses on Woolley Street are not huge, or, as I've heard a couple of times tonight, grand. That word scares me, just in general. I consider them to be oversized, out of proportion, and out of keeping with the quality of the Southampton that I always knew since I was a kid here. And the one on Halsey Avenue is a beautiful home, but it's enormous. Its backyard abuts our side yard of 88 Woolley Street. And it's kind of like a mouse looking at an elephant. And I think that if we're not careful, what's going to happen is the very thing that, or we're going to spoil the very thing that people come here for. The beauty of this village will be lost by the very thing that it's supposed to be saved by. We just spent 12 days, I think, in New England. And this isn't New England, of course, but New England is gorgeous. And many, many places have beautiful homes and other structures that have been preserved. There has to be a reason why they were preserved, because somebody finally said no. And I think we need to think about that and consider that, not just with this particular house, but in general. It's something that has been in my gut for a long time. And as I drive around and I see these monster homes that are fondly known as McMansions come around everywhere, it's spreading to the little streets, to the little avenues, to the little places where the little people live. And pretty soon, there are going to be no little people left to live in this town. And that sounds like a big speech, and it is, but I think that we can have a very nice house there with consideration for the proportion of what that house should be. I know this gentleman builds good houses, and I've seen some, and the design is very good. I think we all need to be vigilant, and we try to be, but it's real hard. Yeah. It's real hard. So I just hope that that will be considered, and that we won't just keep saying that's out of our purview, we don't have any control over that. Somebody's got to, or all is lost.
Just in case just so you know,
yes,
if
sir.
It is out of our purview, we're going to keep saying it because it is. Once we, and I agree with you about creating a precedent. Because if we start dealing and start handling as a board things that are out of our purview, we set a precedent and we set, quite frankly, the village of Southampton liable for any lawsuit or any type of board. So we have to make sure we stay within our jurisdiction.
Yes, I understand that, and you do a darn good job.
Thank
But I think that we need to keep doing that. And
We also need to keep enforcing, not enforcing our code, but looking at our code for ways to improve it.
yes, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Have you had a chance, by the way, to look at some of the new plans that came in on this application?
No, I haven't. I haven't.
But they'll be at the building department.
They'll be at the building department, and they're, I'm gonna put these, because I don't have any place to put them.
They go in the file. That's where they go. So
They'll
at the
be
building
there,
department to be
okay.
able
That'd
to-
be
Look at 'em in the building
wonderful. I'd like to see
Take a
them,
look.
yeah.
And then in the meantime, the applicant's gonna answer, or not answer, but provide the information that we requested.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Any other public comment? That's the board.
Mackie Finnerty, Woolley Street. I just wanted to agree with you on the fact that you told him very clearly to bring that streetscape, and you emphasized the importance of how this sits on Woolley Street. He says there's other wider houses on Woolley Street. I can't even imagine what he's talking about. I mean, almost all of us live in very, very narrow houses. The lots on Woolley Street are narrow lots. There aren't other lots that are built on like his, so I'm not sure what he's talking about. So he turns to another street like Halsey, which is an enormous mixture of architectural things. It doesn't, unlike Woolley Street, which is, it's not that it's conforming from beginning to end, but what's true about it was a working class neighborhood, and it reflects that in the houses. Pardon?
Horse and buggy road.
Yeah. And we like it that way, and it looks good that way, and people pay enormous amounts of money to live on that street because it looks that way. And it gets written up in New York papers because it looks that way, and we don't want to change it, and I know you have to conform with the law, but when we have to turn to another street to say it's okay, it's just like the woman with the gates tonight. She went somewhere else and looked at a gate. You kept asking her to look at the streetscape there. She said, oh, over Meadow Lane, there's a big gate. That's to me is sort of ridiculous. We have to deal with Woolley Street. That's the streetscape you're looking for, and he has to look at that. And we understand it's a very big lot, but there are ways, we know, to step back a house and to put bulk in the back, and there's all kinds of things you can do to minimize bulk from the street and still have a pretty big house. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Any other comments? So the applicant has direction and...
Okay, so I think, it was probably a misunderstanding from the last meeting, exactly what was being asked for. So we will make sure that we come back with a streetscape illustration.
Okay.
Okay, and just as a note, just as a passing comment, I think we've designed a house that, is proportional, it's not a typical Hamptons 16 gable house. We felt like we took into consideration the style of the street. So, but we will be back with a streetscape, and
I don't think anyone in this board had any issue with the architectural.
Okay.
Or with the style. It just has to do with its placement in that community and whether it's within keeping.
Have you thought about rotating this 90 degrees?
One of the problems that we have is that we have an existing garage and an existing cottage on the property. And, because of those structures being placed where they are, still trying to get a area backyard for a pool, we are sort of kind of, squeezed in a little between the front.
But you've explored that.
I'm sorry?
But you have explored that.
We explored that. I mean, we haven't, in the sense that it's, we felt that because of the width of the lot and the house is proportional to the lot.
But would you be willing to look at that?
Why? I'm not sure how that would really benefit us, other than perhaps being a thin house on the street like every other house.
Take a look at your streetscape. Maybe it'll give you direction.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're asking this board to adjourn for your until the next meeting.
Have a good evening.
Motion to approve the applicant's request to adjourn.
I make a motion that we approve the applicant David Rimland's request to adjourn 52 Woolley Street to our next meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Next application is, excuse me, 46 McGee Flag on 46 McGee Street. Construction of a two-story house.
Good evening, Anthony Vermandois, Sag Harbor, New York. Okay, we presented at the last.
Moving this 5 feet.
Right, exactly, and their new survey was
You really
submitted.
want to do that?
Doesn't impact us.
Okay.
We also were doing the, as specified on the survey, the 15-foot plus arborvitae.
Any public comment on the application? This application was just to step back the house. We had no issues, no challenges with the architecture, with the mass, size, the material that are being used. It was a request to have it step back, and the applicant requested to do so, not this board.
Correct.
Motion to approve.
I make a motion that we approve the application of 46 McGee Flag, Southampton.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Good luck.
Thank you.
Nice house. Next application is Paolo Alavian, 20 Little Plains Road.
Tom Pedrazi, architect for the applicant. The last time I was here, you requested, as you'll see on the plans, actually you requested smaller plans. And you've also requested a context, some context houses in the neighborhood, and some additional details.
I had the chance to go by there and see. You're right.
We're squeezed. Well, I just also wanted you to sort of look at this photograph, what we're dealing with. We're dealing with a house that's tucked way up against the property. And to move it would be a lot of foundation work, and as my son said, we're really building a house next to a smaller house. So we didn't want to move this structure. So I just thought that was a good telling photograph. Did I give you all? Do you have an extra one?
What we have here is
need an
exact
extra one?
replication.
No, we have plenty.
This is the exact replication of the plans that we have in our file, correct?
That's right.
The scale and design.
I did add some detail, and actually I did reduce some heights. I did.
This one's stamped in too.
As
There's two that stamped, all the others not.
I'm sorry, Curtis, may I give this to you, and you flip that one with me? That one's stamped, that was not. She wants that.
Sorry.
Thank you.
It's okay.
Here you go. What's
Sorry
that
for the
fat stamp?
confusion.
Mr. Hogue did ask some questions that I went back to my studio and I reworked. We were just about 2 feet of overhang here. I reduced that to 12 inches on both sides. And the slope, the top slope, was just reduced a little bit, so the house actually sort of came down about a foot. I mean, we just worked with the proportions on the gambrel. We've also reduced the size of this dormer and tucking this back further into the roof, so it actually creates a little bit more of a well. So this model doesn't represent really what's there. This dormer actually got pushed further in to the house, so it doesn't it doesn't sit on top of the front porch. It's sort of recessed. So we'll have to do some, copper pan flashing. And the one of the other things that we did was on one of the detail sheets, I believe it was A106, I did do a detail
on the porch,
the side porch, where it's just going to be filled in with a shingle, and that's above our header, which will be a boxed out header, a detailed boxed out header.
Here's one of those.
It is. Okay.
Oh, you gave me the plan, thanks.
Brian, comments?
Yeah, that's on A105.
No, all the concerns that I had have been alleviated. All the details we were looking for are now drawn in. The way the roofs meet each other are fine. I like that you took it even a step further and reduced the mass a little bit. That connects to the dormers much better. never had a problem with the tower. I thought it
Yeah.
worked fine.
This rendering actually kind of shows where that
Exactly.
dormer is more
Yeah,
sort
it
of
looks great.
integrated into the roof.
I have no issues.
Esther?
I think it's definitely a step in the right direction.
Any public comment on the application? Motion to approve?
I make a motion that we approve the application of Paolo Alavian at 20 Little Plains Road.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Good luck.
Thank you.
William and Leslie Collins, 7 David's Court, new house with attached garage.
Evening.
It's Mariusz Wroblewski. I'm working for Jim.
Just speak up just a tad
Right,
bit.
definitely. Yeah, sure. I have to spell it, right? M-A-R-I-U-S-Z, last name Wroblewski, W-R-O-B-L-E-W-S-K-I. All right, I'm working for Jim.
I'm sorry, you're going to have to speak louder.
Once again to this thing, huh?
Yeah, that's good.
All right, hello, 1, 2, 3.
Good. Thank you.
All right, the
Can you
last.
say your name for the record?
Yeah, call me Mario.
Mario.
All right, so.
Mario, I'm sorry, what is your full name, sir?
Mariusz Wroblewski.
Wroblewski.
All right, she's got it, I spell it and all that.
So we understand.
On last hearing, apparently panel had a difficulty to envision the shape of the house and such, so therefore we prepared some drawings. And obviously, once again, there's the set of plans, right?
Yep.
And these are new?
Yeah. Little updates, nothing really. And there's little things.
You have to hand everything in.
Through her, okay.
Great, thank you.
Little views from south and from the north. And, you know, obviously, if you have any questions, then obviously I can answer.
Sorry. Let me just keep
The
going.
new house or the old house?
It's part of the same set that's not in the back.
This is
Different, it's one's the front, this is the front.
This is the old house, this is the new house.
This is Jim McChesney's house?
Yeah.
No, he's not. This is.
Sorry, can I back up a little? Do you work for Jim?
Yes.
You do, okay, thank you.
I think on this last application, we asked for a lot more detail. I was having trouble with the drawings themselves,
Yeah, you had asked for a rendering, actually.
and I'm still having that same issue.
I see. So black and white thing doesn't work for you, you're saying?
Excuse me?
The black and white thing doesn't work for you?
There's really no detail here at all. It's just, they're flat surfaces.
Well, that's true. Presentation is not as elaborate as the previous ones, but, all right, sure. So what's the decision?
See if you can do, excuse me?
What is the
I'm
decision?
sorry, I can't hear a word you're saying. I'm so, maybe it's me.
Sorry, maybe.
That's all right.
I just have to clear my throat.
Okay, all right. What were you saying now?
No, I'm asking. I'm saying. Then last time apparently there was a request for 3D views of that house,
So
right?
this is your interpretation of
So
the
this is
3D view.
yeah. Well, this is it. It's not as elaborate as a predecessors. However, it just describes and shows how the thing will look like, right?
Well, my very elementary understanding of AutoCAD and any other of the designs, you can get a little more specific.
Yes, definitely.
than that.
Yes.
That's what we're looking for.
I see. Okay. Not a problem.
Okay.
You want to show him the rendering from David Rimland as an example?
Great idea.
No, I've seen those things, obviously.
Can you show us something like that?
Yes.
Okay,
Sure.
That's what we needed.
Okay.
Okay?
Clear.
Clear, correct.
Yeah.
Very good. Thank you for your time.
Any changes on your application other than
Not
that?
really.
Okay.
No.
Why don't you improve the viewpoints?
Okay. What do you mean by viewpoints?
Just make it
Details?
simple. The details. Details, if you can do a color rendering that's
Okay.
equivalent to or similar to what was presented. And, it's kind of different. You have a lot of angles. You have a lot of details to the house that are really not being read on your plans, unfortunately.
All right, anything specific?
Proportion.
Proportion.
Not me or you?
I just think it has to be with colors.
Doesn't matter.
All right, not a problem.
Okay.
Are you
Any, any public comment on the application? All right, so you're requesting this board to adjourn so you can prepare that information?
Sure.
All right, motion to approve applicant's request to adjourn.
I make a motion that we approve the applicant William and Leslie Collins' request to adjourn 70 David's Court to our next meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, good night.
All right. And our final applications here?
Stephanie, you?
David Zoo?
David, close. David Zoo. Okay.
Okay, I
A
wanted,
two-story, single-family dwelling with garage.
I'd like to submit these renderings for them, just 3 sets of the same thing. It's actually a couple of views, this one included, which is the front. And this is just the front elevation Mike had, 2D, and the floor plans, because when I submitted the package, we just adjusted a little bit of the front elevation. The front
Is that
elevation.
a 63 Shelby Cobra?
Cobra. That's
Yeah, I
just
don't-
showing off. That's just showing off.
Well, I put that.
Right to that.
So the rendering, this is 32 Pheasant Lane from Mr. David Zoo. I'm John Himmelsbach, architect. It's a large house, 8,500 square feet on a 2-acre lot, which we conform to all the FAR regulations and setbacks. We're proposing a 3-car attached garage with the house and a separate pool. It's a shingle-style house with a white shingle with a black roof. Mr. Zoo particularly liked one of the houses in the village, an old 444 Little Plains, which is a white house, black shingle. I think we all probably know that house.
Yep.
So we were trying to meld a floor plan and a house that he liked of mine and this style too. So we sort of borrowed a lot from that look, but tried to make it our own. So
How about 444, that's on the east side?
it is on the east side,
Yeah.
heading south. It's got the black roof, so it'd be the similar look, white shingle, black roof.
What material's the roof?
Right now, I have it. We're considering just using a black Grand Manor fiberglass asphalt shingle, not a slate. I mean, the slate would be the next level, but
Next level,
it
which
is
way?
now next level up expense. Yeah,
Sorry?
expense-wise, would be the next. Did you see the lot itself? It's a flag lot. It's there's some pictures in the package there of the. I gave some pictures of the site. It has a long flag drive up, and it's lined with hedges on both sides. I met with the adjoining neighbor. They had one concern about the hedges and how we were going to protect them, and I said the client would certainly put up a construction fence, but she'll speak on her behalf. But I have no objection to any of that. And
John, what is the siding, is what, a Malbec painted?
yeah, it's a pre-dipped shingle, the white.
Right.
And it's going to be your typical, Marvin window
Got
package.
it. And the
Get more house.
brackets are field built or? is it
Yeah, field built,
detailed?
like a
Okay.
cedar bracket, simple.
Okay, it's nice. Yeah.
Brian, comments?
The front porch, the portico, it's just a flat roof on
Yeah,
there?
it's just a flat, because it's, the window grouping, it's into a foyer, double height foyer, so you want it, when you're on the balcony, on the second floor stair landing, looking across, we didn't have a pitched roof on it.
Christine?
How deep is this flag lot?
How deep is the flag itself? It's on the survey's in the package. I have a survey here. It's pretty long.
Christine, I didn't hear a comment, I'm sorry. No comments?
It's 271 feet of flag.
So it's almost 3/4 of a football field back.
Yeah, it's way in. Did you see the photos in the file?
Yeah, I've seen.
It's overgrown.
Esther, any comments?
The porch is on the second floor.
Yes.
Are those accessible?
Yes.
They are accessible.
Yes. It's in the floor plan. On the front, there one's in a bedroom and the other one's in the bathroom. It's very similar to this house I was referring to. It has balconies in the front too.
Very nice.
Anything further, Esther?
No,
Do you have issues with the accessibility?
No, because of the size of the lot.
2 acres sits back from the road.
Yeah, way back.
And
The,
do we have a
most-
landscape plan, other than what's on the site plan? Is it going to be completely,
It's going to be pretty much what I did on the site plan. It's very minimal, just going to be a lawn. There's a lot of open lawn now. It's going to be
privet all the way
privet
around?
all the way around. Yeah.
And how high is the privet?
The existing one's over 6. That's reef privet's pretty high. It'd be way over 6 feet. The privet that's there now, maybe 8 feet. It's in the photo actually in the file.
Okay.
Okay.
Is there any public comment?
Yes, please.
Yes, please step forward.
Hi. My name is Beth Treadway, and I am the neighbor who lives just south of this property at 50 Pheasant Lane. And I've never done this before, so I brought a few notes along. I would say that, first of all, my husband and I think that this is a very attractive house. We think it is well placed on the property. Our concerns are, we would say, important, but we think fairly minimal. Our concerns do relate to that the driveway to the flag lot, which is just north of our property, and it's a narrow driveway, about 20 feet wide. The hedges on both sides, well, we own one set of the hedges, which are well within our property line, as is our fence within our property line, and the surveys and the stakes and so forth in the properties suggest that. And I assume that the same is true for the hedge on the opposite side of the driveway, which is owned by the Millers who live on that piece of land. Our concerns are about our hedge and our fence during construction. The roots of our hedge, as the driveway is put in or as a result of a driveway going in, and also drainage in terms of that driveway, in that we've lived in the property for 30 years, and we do have a number of specimen trees, both Japanese maples and a Liberty elm tree, in that area, as well as ground cover, and our concern is that there be appropriate drainage in the driveway so that those continue to survive.
That's actually in the purview of this board to force the applicant, or you've discussed the
You
applicant.
had suggested that, and that we may actually...
What I'm saying is it's not the purview of this board that we force or we even instruct the applicant to put drainage. I don't recall. That would be a planning.
Yeah, it's a planning board.
It is a planning board. By the way, John, had you applied to the planning board for this?
No, the village tin said I could go for this first, and then the tennis court separate, so it was a separate application. the tennis
Well,
court.
the trouble is the village code, the TEN didn't realize, provides that a construction on a flag lot has to go before the planning board anyway.
Yeah,
Regardless,
it's going
regardless
to-
of the tennis court.
Right.
Right, okay. Well, I was told that I could
I understand
to
that.
do this and do
Well,
the
the
application.
timing of it is not set forth in the code, but this lady is raising an issue. What I would suggest is you meet with them and deal with their
Yeah, no,
concerns.
we spoke out in the hall. I think
We
that the
did,
client
we
was
did.
fine.
We spoke out in the hall.
Anything sneaky, is he?
Absolutely not. No, as I
just have a
said,
question because it's bothering me. Is that your package back
No,
there?
there, not only that, there's a bag back there. Somebody left a
Okay.
bag back
Well, take it outside, would you?
Somebody see something, say something, but I'm like, everybody left.
I'm not laughing. I'm
John,
serious.
John, go get it and bring it outside right now,
If it
please.
ticks, John, drop.
All right, well, get this on film. I touch it.
Move a little faster.
See
would you?
something, say something. It's
Well, there was a whole hearing.
yeah. Just take it out in the hallway. In the hallway.
That last moment.
Yeah, okay, we'll be down here.
You don't know what day and age we're in right now.
And this board does not have jurisdiction over these issues, but the planning board does. This needs to go before the planning board, and you can address the drainage and the driveway at that time.
So I'm guessing that what you would suggest is that
Don't guess.
I continue to follow this project,
Yes.
Yes.
and especially as it goes before the planning board.
Yes.
Great.
And liaise with John and
Anything on
see
the
if-
architecture? Do you have any questions regarding the style of the house, the architecture itself?
No,
Any
as I said,
concerns?
my husband and I have looked at the plans.
Sorry about
Is it large? Sure, it's large, but we realize where we live.
Okay.
We think it's very attractive. We think it's well placed on the property. We think the sunken tennis court and the pool are very well placed on the property as well.
In lieu of no planning approval, we could still approve contingent on approval too of the planning board, correct?
Yes.
And if there's any changes in layout,
Raw materials.
well, it wouldn't be for the planning board, but landscape, anything, we would have to come back before this board
Okay.
for reapproval.
If it's significant.
I don't want to put the terms of significant or not, if there's a change come back.
I think he went through it pretty well as far as placing the tennis court and the pool. I think it's, that's where it's gonna be, and he was very much, he didn't really want to do a lot of landscaping, but I told him we have to do drainage. There'll be issues with the tennis court, so obviously we'll address the driveway. I'm sure planning board will have a requirement for that.
You have no other further questions?
I do not.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. My first time here, I've been very
You
impressed.
did a very good job.
I've been very impressed by what I watched tonight.
Thank you. Nothing further from the applicant? Nothing further from the board?
No.
No.
Motion to approve.
Make a motion that we approve the application of Dapeng Zhu at 32 Pheasant Lane.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Good luck.
All right.
Thank you.
So I don't know what about that bag. I don't know what you want to do.
I'm sorry if I seem too precautious, but. All right, April 23rd, minutes.
They've been approved.
I thought so.
June 11th have not been approved. Christina was the only one that was not present.
Okay, board members had the opportunity to review the minutes. Questions, comments, concerns, or issues? Motion to approve.
None other than the fact that during the application for 40 Meadow Lane, we did read into the record that the posting was done correctly, and we read the names of the various people that were notified. I'd just like to have that on record.
Okay.
You did say that at the hearing.
Yeah.
Do you want me to add that into?
I would
this?
like to.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Yeah.
Under that application or just an additional note?
Put it in the minutes of that
Minutes
meeting.
in the meeting.
So amended minutes for that meeting,
Amend the map?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
just in case for some reason it.
For clarity's sake.
Say that 3 or 4 times, amended minutes for that meeting.
No, exactly.
Okay.
Clarity's sake, we read a lot of the names. We showed the affidavit of posting and mailing and certified receipts as such. I just wanted to have that clear.
Okay.
Okay, motion to approve the minutes from June 11th with the condition, with the changes and amendments that were proposed.
I don't think I was that.
You were not.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We did not have a meeting on June 25th.
I think July 14th are not ready yet, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Okay.
Motion to close this evening's meeting.
Make a motion that we close the meeting of the Board of Architectural Review and Historic Preservation for July 28th, 2014.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Good night.